Okay, there you go. Oh, no worries at all. I'm glad I came running in and go, oh my God, I got to get this interview. Hey,
Hey,
how's everything been going? Good?
everything's good. Trying to get used to this new life of talking to people via via Zoom rather than in person.
It is funny, and it's so strange, and that's the world of, and the world certainly our business. You do entertainment too, and that's it's just kind of wacky. I keep getting there's a few projects I have out there. They keep telling me 3 to 6 months, but we're still still staying active. So how about you? I mean, you're obviously staying active doing the Zoom stuff, which is awesome.
Yeah. I still get to. I mean, a couple months ago it was really quiet, but now suddenly I think this actually makes things easier. So because we could do this without ever leaving our house.
It does. It's really weird. I think a lot of it, we won't come back to doing. I mean, it's like when we shot this Elvis movie, I shot it all over the place on different green screens, but it's forced us to do technology faster, which is really nice. I get a kick out of it.
Yeah. So speaking of Elvis from Outer Space, what initially drew you to a project like this? It's quite out there.
It really was. I think it was, in the early days in Hollywood, we had such a great group out there. Sorry, I was getting rid of this stuff off the phone. We had
Sure.
such a great group we worked with in town. I had worked with Diana Renee on several things, and she's in the new movie. She's starting a new movie, A Prayer for the Damned, maybe. And I had worked with her up in Napa, and Diane Yang Kirk. She's in the film. She's of course, the main agent, and she it's so fun for me because we've been through this whole process over that 13-year history of putting that film together. And she called me because she was like, hey, we're in Hollywood together for Ryan Murphy. I go, yeah, I do. So I was like, that's awesome. And she's like, Elvis from Outer Space is coming out. And so being drawn to those projects, as you know, I don't know what your favorite genre is, but, as actors, we love everything. But, oh, my gosh, when it comes to sci-fi, and, of course, I'm an Elvis fan, a lot of money. I mean, I was raised on that stuff in the South. And so whenever you get an opportunity to do something that's such a mixture, and especially something with this kind of comedic value to it and the camp value to it, I keep harassing everybody nonstop. I got a wonderful note from Ryan Murphy, and of course, he's got the biggest contract in Hollywood, blah, blah, blah. And I sent a note back, without name dropping too much. I was like, that's nothing. I'm winning an Oscar on July 7th for Elvis from Outer Space. So I fully intend to get an Oscar for this. So if I don't call me back, don't tell me. Just don't tell me. Yeah, so being drawn to it, it was just the storyline too. And Sonny West was involved with it. And, it's really funny when Marvin and Neil were working on the film, I remember when we first sat down to talk about the movie, and I guess I was awe-inspired that it doesn't matter what the project is. It matters that people put so much of their lives and interest and desire. Here are guys that didn't use original Elvis music, but yet wrote as many songs as they could to match that sort of theme. And you know what? I don't care if it hits or misses the mark with whatever audience you're shooting for at any given time, because we all know if you get on the internet nowadays that every 12-year-old in the bathroom in Czechoslovakia hates or loves a movie. And I think when you really put so much passion into it, and those guys, if you listen to them talk about it, they're like, you don't understand. It's about Elvis. It's about aliens. It's great. And I was like, you sold me, because I talk fast and I don't care. Just give me a script or I'll make it up. Make a bit of difference. But, because as you've seen from my, auctioneering stuff and everything else, I mean, talking fast is my gig. But something like that, I got to work with friends. And, like I said, they put their heart and soul into it. So to have it come out after this period of time, it's fascinating to see. I mean, I had the great fortune of watching it. Watching the new screener, and I originally saw the original movie at the Wilshire Theater in Beverly Hills. And from that moment to this moment, the people are still passionate about what they do. Yeah, you can't beat that, no matter what the project.
Now, did they write the role specifically for you? Because coincidentally, the character's name is Barry, and your name's Barry.
Yes, well, as you know, I'm such a big star. I'm usually the biggest star on every show I do by 45 pounds, 45, 50 pounds. So I demanded that they use the name Barry. No, it actually came over time. We started as just the host. And then as they changed the format, they wanted more in the background of TV and more like a dancing talk show host, sort of a Fox meets, a CNN meets Ellen DeGeneres. So you got that concept. And as they put that together, they were kind enough and gracious enough to say, we're going to do Barry Live. So I was very happy about it.
So now all of this obviously is green screen. Could you talk about doing most of your scenes in green screen? How long did that actually took you?
Absolutely. I mean, when you look at the concept, when we shot the original with that band and did some of that early stuff of the competition as it goes through, we shot that live, as it were, in a Wilshire theater there in Los Angeles, up on Ivar, I think. Anyway, so we shot a lot of that, and then you're right, 80% after that was all green screen, and I think I had been at that time. I had finished, when I went back to shoot a lot of it, I had finished Witches of Oz playing Cowardly Lion. And, with Billy Boyd, Christopher Lloyd, all those guys from Lord of the Rings, I had shot for probably 3 months on green screen in Connecticut. Mm-hmm. And so, you just get so used to that. Fortunately, I only like to act with myself, so it was easy. That's not true, by the way. Because you do hear actors do that. They're like, "Oh, green screen's so tough." No, it's not. I get a real kick out of it because it's almost like you said, you have to create something. You're doing so to shoot. Probably 50% of all that Barry live stuff took us 2 days shooting green screen, and it literally is the creativity of Tracy Wishbard up in New York, and she'd be writing something and working on the direction, and Marvin, those guys, and then the Giant Productions, and then the new guys, the distributors, and they would go, "Hey, have Barry say this." So basically, I'm trying to make it sound really fancy when in fact I'm just a puppet. That's all.
Where did you get your dance moves? I mean, obviously this is not your first, dancing gig on screen.
That's a good point. I was, as you recall, I lost the Oscar to John Travolta in Saturday Night Live. If you'd looked in the background, you would have seen me dancing. Or as my favorite is, it's the Where's Waldo stuff for your family. A funny side note, I just had somebody do this last week. They were like, "Dude, I was staring at a poster for Water for Elephants with Reese Witherspoon. For some reason, your head is right between Robert Pattinson and Reese Witherspoon." And I go, "Yes, I was his dance coach, which got cut out of the movie. I'm very depressed." But I had always, it's so funny. Yeah, because I've turned into, I wanted to be the John Travolta, now I've turned into the John Candy. I literally, back in college, taught dancing at Arthur Murray. You're so young, you wouldn't remember that name. It was a chain of you do everything when you're an actor. We did just sell cars, and I taught dancing, ballroom dancing. So it's nice of you to say that, but yes, I just look like an epileptic in this case. Not much.
So a lot of improv while both dancing and your lines at the same time?
You bet, because we did a lot of dialogue that was scripted, and of course then you just add in. I mean, that's what I like about those guys. They see that that's what actors do and really get a kick out of it. I mean, it's the most fun for us. You hear people talk about that all the time. You can see the people that are reality stars, and I don't want to bash them under any stretch of imagination, but you see the people that really get a kick and rehearse all the time, and you get that improv ability. It's why I like to go to improv shows. And yeah, you have that capability of just doing that. So probably about 50% of it was written, and then the rest of it was do what you want, Barry. So we do the whole way through of Barry live.
So how much interaction did you even have with the rest of the cast?
60% of it I had none. It's really funny that it's the older stuff we had already shot for the original version, because they changed the original version completely. I say completely as in it was unrecognizable. I mean, we really had just done the intro stuff in Vegas, and that was pretty much it. And he had just gone through coming back to Earth. But we really didn't have a lot of the daughter scenes. We really didn't have a lot of the connection with the agent. We really didn't have that ending story. And that was put all together later. So, yeah, for 50% of the filming, I had no interaction with them, which is
So what was your reaction now seeing the final product? I mean, what do you think about yourself on screen for this?
Oh, Lord, it's always hard for me to watch myself on screen. I mean, I know we always say that, but yeah, no, we don't. Correct. We don't usually sit around. I like to think that way, and I do tease my friends. They go, "What are you doing over the holidays?" I go, "Well, I just use my voice command, and I Google shows with me and watch them. That's all I do. Just sit around and watch me over and over." No. I was so delighted by the movie because I always have zero expectations of the film, but great expectations of the actors. And almost everyone in that movie put a lot of effort and passion into it. Even some of the Elvis impersonators we had, even Marv, who sneaks in there with the Elvis costume. It's really fun. It was really fun to watch. I got a kick out of it. That's what I told him, because I'm very truthful. I mean, I have done some absolutely horrible movies in the past, and that's what you do as an actor. We've all seen those happen. I mean, Bruce Willis has done some bad movies. We've all seen those.
That's true.
But it's just, when I sit and watch the movie, I was really pleased. I mean, did you get a chance to watch it yet?
I did watch it. Yeah.
I was pleased because it was exactly what I thought it would be. And so for me, I honestly, having a few actors pass away from the film, for me, watching the process, when I watch the film, I always do that. I've just always been that type that wants to bring positivity to it. Although I can appreciate critics and criticism, I really find what you find good in the film, and and if it's not your taste, you tell people, look, it's not my taste. But for a sci-fi film, no, I thoroughly enjoyed it.
It was definitely different. I do have to admit that.
You're exactly right. I mean, when you watch this, I hate stories being told to me. I will tell you, that's my pet peeve. So when we started off with the Morgan Freeman type story, that was driving me crazy. I was like, oh, this is going to drive me nuts. But I mean, you just think about the process. And again, you go back and look at all that time, and again, I look at Diane, and I look at Diane, and I think about all the things we've done in 15 years, and we ended up working on a Ryan Murphy show together. And Hollywood was #1 for like 3 weeks, and it's the experiences. I don't. You've watched films like that a lot. I have great friends that do those Sharknado movies, and I tease them continuously. I worked with John Hurd on Outsiders, and I was the Don Fouché, the evil guy running people off town. And these are all A-list actors, and John was right there on Sharknado with the rest of them. I remember seeing John on that. He passed away last year, I guess. And
yeah.
I joked with him about that the entire time. I said, dude, you were in Sharknado. And he goes, I know. I don't tell people. I said, you should tell everybody. You're my hero. Why not?
Well, they did have a lot of Sharknado movies, so there is a success there.
I'll have to shout out to the sound guys and the music guys. They're good friends of mine, and I tease them relentlessly. They're like, we just need to make some more stuff. I go, make another Sharknado. It's just priceless. They are worse. I don't know. I can sit through Elvis From Outer Space long before I can sit through Sharknado 12. I can't take it anymore. No more Sharknado. And I love Tara Reid. I know those guys.
That is excellent.
But I'm glad you put it that way, because watching it, I didn't have the expectations of it, and it's going to be really fun for me too, because it's a blast for me. I'll send out to I'll name drop all night long. I'll send it out to my friends I know that are A-listers and go, hey, you need to catch my A-list movie, and they'll laugh. They'll get a kick out of it. I'll go, but you and I know also that's the stupidity of it. I'll be right before I'm dying, which will probably be next Tuesday, considering all the fried chicken I eat. And that I will be nominated for an Oscar for this movie. And there's no way in hell it makes no sense. And just so you know, I'll probably thank you for doing the interview. That's what I'll do in my Oscar speech.
I know, right? Hey, so on your filmography, you have done so many roles as an auctioneer or a host and so on. Is that at the top of your resume? Is that why you keep on getting these roles?
Yeah, exactly. What happens is that's a funny one, because in the old days they would always say you don't want to be stereotyped, and I get mailbox money. I'm happy I'm stereotyped. I think when you find something that you can do and the directors trust you to do, and you get such a kick out of it, I just don't see a downside to doing it. And I've had agents ask me that quite a bit. They say, do you want to keep doing auctioneer roles? Haven't you done them all? And I go, God, no. Because, look at the last one. I say Hollywood was #1. I take that specific example. Our Longest Ride was #2, I guess, when it came out in theaters. A lot of that's, for family and friends. But if you look at the profession itself, guess what? I'm there with Ryan Murphy. I'm there on set with, Patti LuPone, a 4-time Tony winner, David Cornsweet, Mira Sorvino, Rob Reiner. I'm there with these guys, so I get to work with them and talk to them about everything from lighting to construction of the scene. And, when we put together that auctioneering scene, again, they call me, because the director wants that. Those are difficult scenes. I don't want to pat myself on the back, but they're difficult because you have a lot going on, and you would understand that because you're in entertainment. It's much like you ask a question about green screen. But when I sit down with the director and they came in and say it's me, Patty, and David for shooting that scene, the director says, okay, Barry, I'm familiar with your work. Why don't you direct the scene and walk me through what will happen? Because as they're walking in, I don't know if you saw Hollywood yet.
I did see. I actually watched all the episodes.
I know, it's such a great show, wasn't it? It was such a good message.
Yeah,
it's really good. But if you see that scene, I just don't think you can beat a lifetime experience of sitting there with that director and him saying, Barry, here's Patti LuPone who won a Tony for Evita. What do you want to do? And I say, well, it's going to take 2 minutes and 37 seconds to go from the pool up here. So I'm going to start to deliver a little bit. I'll start an object. I'll make up an object. We'll get to the piano. I'm going to make sure we're going to sell that sword. When they land, I'll be clean for their lines. I'll block it for the camera hits me in those 2 open portals. When they come back around, we'll do the reverse. Then I'll do a full master for you. Then I'll do a wild track, and that's how we'll shoot it. That gives me 17 seconds, a minute 34 seconds, minute and 3 seconds, and 14 seconds for the conclusion. And he goes, spot on. Let's do it. And so, we can shoot it, and it makes it easier for those guys than getting an actor that's not used to it. Because again, 2 minutes and 37 seconds of wide open dialogue, doing this interview for you for 5, 11, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 minutes, 10, 10, 25, going once, going twice, old. Being able to do that constantly for that 2 minutes and 37 seconds, but keep the lines clean for them, you need the person that's experiencing that. So if I have that experience, I absolutely love it. So I will not turn that down till the day I die. Now, I may change my mind next week, but I don't think so. I just love it too much. I love the business. And so the answer is it's become a skill that leads me well. I mean, it really gives me the opportunity to be there on set with those guys.
I guess that's really good. I mean, it keeps the work flowing to you, especially if you're.
That's the other thing, as you know, from being an actor. I mean, I am fortunate enough. I mean, I used to say 25 years. I did the LA scene for 34 years, and I was fortunate enough to make a living, and that puts me in the top 2%. So it's that being able to do that. And again, it's also the give back to your agents. I mean, I'm fortunate and unfortunate that I'm in that middle range. My own mother doesn't know my name, to steal from Notting Hill, where I get they always offer Alec Baldwin the job, come back to me and offer me the job, then tell Alec Baldwin that I'm going to do it for cheaper and then give it to him. This is how the system has happened so many times. And I love that, because that puts me in that middle ground of when Alec Baldwin's not ready, when the fat Val Kilmer's not ready, when all those guys that have gotten to be my age are not ready, Barry's ready. I'll do it for free food and scale. So I'm there. But it really, it's such a wonderful thing to enjoy that experience. And like I said, I think that's true for all actors. When you find that you're right on the money, when you can earn a living doing that, so that you can do the other projects you have. I got a great call from a wonderful casting director who's done a ton of Oscar films from the Hollywood thing, who said they loved it. And guess what? They want me to play a director, and then it's a whole different scene. And so it's, you get those opportunities because those exist.
So talk about some of your future projects. I know it's a silly question to ask during a pandemic, but
gosh, no,
it's an obligatory question to ask.
Yeah, it's not at all. One of them is a Kurt Warner story, is the one that I'm up for a great part, and I'm waiting for that. And we went through the process, because as you know, once you get up to the network level, you're looking at 5 or 6 meetings, and we're on the 3rd or 4th process. So you're correct. Everything else that we're shooting, I've got 2 films that have both been put on hold. And then, everything's been really pushed out 3 to 6 months. But I continue to write and work. I worked with Rosie Scamell, who's an actress in London today, and looking at her scripts and ideas. And we're just always, I guess, I wrote a book on Amazon, and on the back of it, I remember getting a quote from Dee Wallace, the mom on E.T., and Dee always says, "Don't wait, create." And that type of philosophy. So we're always creating something. So when we say, what are you doing in the pandemic? You're right. Are your pictures up to date? Are your reels up to date? Do you have everything out there set? Because, so many actors tend to forget that this is a great time to do that. Are you practicing, doing what you're saying, getting in shape? Like, I just keep gaining weight because I get more jobs. So I'm eating as much as possible. So, you got to put in the hard work. That's what I'm saying to you.
There you go. There you go. Excellent. Hey, thank you very much, Barry. But before I let you go, is there anything that is on your wish list that you want to play?
Oh, always a gay, drug-addicted cowboy. Never. What was Tropic Thunder? Never go full retard. Never go full retard. No, I love comedy, obviously. That's always, it's really funny. I was approached by a studio to shoot Pocahontas 2. If you look on the web somewhere, and I hate to say this in public, but there's a movie called Pocahontas. It's Hunts. It's a horror movie. If you look at the bottom, it's from Wes Craven's niece. If you look at the bottom, you'll see that I'm the writer. And so they called me to do a second one. And so I just find such comedy in that, because it could rival Elvis From Outer Space. So do you want to be in that movie? What part would you like to play?
You know what? Put me in the movie. I'll even serve sandwiches.
That's fantastic. Well, you have to get killed in the movie. I mean, it's a horror movie. Everybody dies in a horror movie.
That's
So
fine.
Really, I don't. I talk about the Anthony Hopkins thing. I could go on that forever because I once went to a SAG meeting and he was there, and I'm so honored to be with people like that. You know, you talk to the best in business. I remember asking him how to break down a script one time, and he literally sat there for 2 hours and showed me how to break down a script. So to me, it's really not even the role. It's the passion of doing what you love and doing it that well, and that's a real actor.
That is a great answer. Well, I am very happy that you love what you actually do, and I certainly hope that you keep on doing it, Barry.
Good. Well, please stay in touch and let me know what projects you are, because you know it's people like you that make the media drive. You're entertainment too, and I appreciate it.
Hey, not a problem. I have plenty of time right now.
All right, deal.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you
Talk to
very
you
much.
later, Barry.
You betcha. Thank you.
Thank you.